In January 1898, President William McKinley sent the USS Maine to Cuba, and due to an accident, the ship blew up and killed 260 sailors. Since the Cubans and the Spanish were in war with each other, the Americans were fast to blame the Spanish. And in April 20th, 1898, President William McKinley signed a congressional resolution that called for Cubans' independence, and he demanded the withdrawal of Spanish forces. McKinley gave the Spanish 3 days to retreat, but they refused, which resulted in the Spanish-American War. The first battlefield for this war took place in the Philippine Islands, more specifically the island of Pao. When the war began, Commodore George Dewey set out for Manila, the Philippine capital. This is where part of the Spanish fleet was located. As the Americans attacked a main base, they would gain a major advantage in the war. The battle in Manila began on the morning of May 1st, 1898, and by little past noon, Dewey's forces beat the Spanish Armada, and no soldier controlled under Dewey died. Dewey's forces eventually took over Manila Bay in August. The War in the Caribbean. Theodore Roosevelt resigned from the Navy Department to volunteer as he helped organize the first U.S. volunteer cavalry, which was called the Rough Riders. In June, the Rough Riders gathered in Tampa, Florida. They sent out for Santiago, which was a Spanish stronghold in southern Cuba. In order to gain control of Santiago's port, they had to capture San Juan Hill. They attacked the Spanish on July 1st. The results of the war. African-American soldiers from the 10th Cavalry began to drive the Spanish back. The Rough Riders helped them capture the San Juan Hill. 2 days later, American ships destroyed the Spanish fleet, and on July 17th, the city surrendered. The U.S. demanded that Spain give up their colonies, which included Puerto Rico, the island of Guam, and the Philippines. The Spanish had no choice, and the final treaty was signed in Paris on December 1898. After the Philippines were released from Spanish rule, they had become an American colony. The Philippines were disappointed and started to rebel. This rebellion was led by Emilio Aguinaldo. The American troops sent to put down the resistance soon enough, but they still were not able to restore rule until 1902. America did not want to grant Cuba complete independence. First off, Cuba had to add the Platt Amendment to its constitution. This gave the Americans the right to intervene with Cuban affairs. A week later, the Americans took control of Puerto Rico. At first, America was reluctant to allow Puerto Rico to become independent, but then, soon enough, the United States had approved it. On August 12, 1898, Spain signed a truce with the Americans and the Spanish-American War.